You know, coming into playing Hanover, they're the best team that we played this season so far, and you know they've been the best team for the last 9 years. So, you know, going in, we knew it was going to be a hard game, but I think we put up a good fight, and you know there's only so much you can do as a team together.
Yeah, I loved the game against Convo. It was a really good game because we got to play pretty much everyone on the team, which was really special because that just kind of gets everyone's energy up, not just the girls who usually are playing most of the games, but everyone on the team, which I think is good. And it's whenever we have games where we can put all the players in, it's really good just bonding and just everyone's cheering for everyone. I think those are the really good games that we had.
How we came back, that Conval game really put us up there, I think, because every person that came to that game got a rotation on the ice. So that was really fun to watch, and all those girls had such a good time. That was a really good game this season, I think.
Did bounce back and get a win right after, which sometimes I feel like that is hard to do when you lose, because sometimes you lose and you get in like the slump and you keep losing, but we didn't. So I think that's really important.
It's really good. I mean, I think that Hanover is kind of my last hurdle as a coach. I'd like to get this program over. I think that in a lot of ways we still go into Hanover not expecting to come out with a win, which is unfortunate because they work really hard, and I want them to believe in themselves. But I think that's the last hurdle I have to get them past, is to still go into every game, not just every game but Hanover, expecting to win. So there's something to be said for a timely loss. You know, we were flying pretty high there, you know, winning a bunch in a row and scoring a lot of goals. So then, you know, getting that timely loss against Hanover, I think, can be helpful, especially with the way they responded in Conval. They came out blazing, ready to go, scoring goals. We got a lot of goals from a lot of different people. It wasn't just Shannon on the score sheet. I mean, she did end up with a hat trick, but it wasn't just her on the score sheet. Callie had a couple, Abby had a couple, Claire was up there again too. So to see them play a full team game and the full bench played, which is always what I strive to have happen. So to get everybody involved in it and then get them back on the bus really feeling like a full team because everybody got to contribute that day is huge. We're going to start to hit the heart of our schedule, I suppose. You know, we've got this week off, basically leading up to Oyster River, so it's going to be a week between games, which is not my ideal. I like to keep them grinding and keep them in a routine. I mean, as a team, as I know these girls, they're creatures of habit, and the more we can stay in the habit, the better off that we are. So lucky for us, we came up with some decent ice time this week, so we can keep on working, keep on going, and just set our sights on the next opponent. Once we hit the heart of our schedule, you know, this third week in January all the way through February, I mean, they've got to be ready to go flat out. The returners know what's coming at them. The season always kind of ends up the same way. I think last season we had 9 games in February, which is half of our season was in February. So they know what's coming at them. But the new skaters are going to be kind of in for oh, okay, here we go. The nice thing is that in this layover, I suppose, of not a whole lot of games, is when we have 3 away games back to back to back. So it doesn't feel like we're going to be on the road forever because we're here practicing for quite some time in between. And then once we get back, we do have a fair bit of home games. You know, we kind of trade off home away. So that makes it nicer too. And one of those away games is at our home rink, so that'll be an interesting experience. But just keeping them engaged, keeping them together when we're at school, even if we don't have ice, looking at film, doing some land training, keeping everybody together and engaged with hockey is going to be our best bet.
We're getting right back into things, which I think is what we should exactly be doing, because too much of a break is not good. And I think honestly, the closer together the games are, like it's better that way, because when you're off for a while and you just have practice, it's not the same as like a game-intensive situation. So I think it's better when they're closer together.
Yeah, the spacing for the games is like odd to have that much time in between, but I think that it's kind of good to like recoup, because especially after the Hanover game, we need to go over a lot, I think, and it's just about being able to show up and be ready, which is something I don't think we struggle with as much, but it's definitely one of those, it's like a little kind of like play with your mind sort of thing. Like you're ready, you have practice, and then you have 2 days off, and then you have to go right into a game without one. So it's kind of like a team thing where we have to come together and know that it's important for us to be there mentally and like physically, obviously.
For me, I'd definitely rather be playing as much as I can just because I love hockey. But I do think it's important for us to be able to have a couple of days to just kind of like regroup and like regenerate ourselves. But I also think there's also too much time in between, which could just kind of get us out of the groove of things.
In practice, I think we just always have to keep up the intensity and not just be like, oh, we don't have a game for the next week, and not just like kind of slept around. Everyone has to be, trying their 100%, going hard at every drill, and if we all do that, then the intensity shouldn't be lowered. We should be right where we should be on the game day.
I mean, I'm silly to not look at that. I'm silly to let the girls know that I look at that, but of course I have to look at that as the coach to figure out where we're going to end up, where we could be, what the best position for us to be in is based on what everybody else has played. But it's crazy to say, we started this right after Thanksgiving, and it's still early in the season game-wise. We still have 11 games left to play, which is a whole ton of time, and depending on everybody's schedules and who they've played and what they have left, it could still fall anyway. I mean, I still think we're going to end up in that 5, 6, 7 area that I thought in the very beginning. But if we can put together a couple of solid wins against a really good Oyster River Portsmouth team, that'd be huge for us, and I think that would definitely jump us more to that 5 end of that scale. So that'd be awesome, especially to go to the WIT on that humongous sheet of ice and piece something together. But that team's flying high right now. They just had a big win against Exeter. Exeter was missing their starting goalie that game, but still to go into Exeter and beat a team of that caliber, regardless of who's in net, has to do a lot for Oyster River Portsmouth. So I hope that we can go in and squash a little bit of that excitement.
I think sometimes we can look ahead a little bit, but I feel like we have to take it game by game, because if we look too far ahead, then we can get lost in our heads. And when you say, oh, a team's easy and we can be able to beat them, sometimes that throws you even more farther back, because then you show up on game day and you're like, whoa, they're a lot better than we thought they were, and then we could end up losing. And going into the Saturday, Oyster River is a very good team, very, very good. So we have to play them very hard to get a win. But every team you have to play like they're the best team, because you never know who's going to show up for game day that day.
We meshed really well, really fast. Like the beginning of the season, we came together pretty fast too. So now we all understand the game, we all know what we're here for, and we also all know what our team personally is capable of. So we've definitely come a long way in that sense.
I think definitely we focus on one game at a time, one period at a time, 1 minute at a time on the ice. You have to just kind of go out there and think, what can I do, not really long term, but like for this game, for this period, for this shift, like what can I do this shift in order to, do the best I can and help out my teammates, and just really like work as hard as you can. So I think that's the mindset we're really trying to go in there with, is just work as hard as you can, like in the moment.
We definitely have to kind of reel ourselves back in, especially when you want to be like, oh, Bedford, we beat them. Like they're an easy team. That will definitely get you caught. It's gotten us caught before, but we usually do the whole thing. Like people will usually chime in before the game and be like, well, we don't know what we're getting into. Like their standings, we don't really know. So we usually bring it back down, and we're always in the mindset going onto the ice like this. We have to work for it. There's no easy wins for us.
Well, I don't really think having a win over a team makes a big difference, because last season we beat Concord, but then they beat us the next time we played them. So, we do have a win, but like I said, you have to play the game like that's put in front of you, because anything can happen. The puck can bounce weird, and it could be 1-0, and that's how it could stay. So we have to play them, as hard as we play every other team. Doesn't matter if we have a win over them or not.
It is a holiday that we're playing Bedford, but I don't think that it shouldn't have any effect on our ability to play. We should be a little more rested and a little more ready to go, but I don't think it should have a big effect on our performance. I think we'll work hard. I think we'll do good against it.
The last thing we need is for them to sleep too late and come out sluggish, because Bedford will capitalize on whatever opportunities we give them. And they've got some good hockey players on that team that can make us pay if we're not ready for them. So maybe I schedule a team lunch that we all have before we go to the game, so it feels a little bit like a school day, and we go from there. But yeah, we can't sleep on them.
expect that first goal from them, and they came out strong, which was really powerful on their part, obviously. And to look up at that 1-0, I think it was honestly probably powerful for us, because we beat them before and we knew we could do it again, but now it was like it was dangerous now. They were a threat. So we had to kind of maneuver around that one goal and figure out how we're gonna come together and kind of end it there at that one goal.
It just made us realize that we needed to get going. It wasn't gonna be a game that we're tired and we're just gonna get on the ice and win again.
Played this team that we had beaten before, and then they come in and they get that first goal on you. You're like, what? Like, because I think we came into it knowing that we can't take it as an easy game, but I think we started a little slow, and then when they scored that, we were like, this is not how we're gonna play.
It definitely got us really fired up when Bedford scored first. I don't think any of us were really expecting it. I think at the beginning, even though we didn't want to do this, at the beginning we kind of went in thinking, oh, it's Bedford, we beat them before, we can easily go and beat them again. But we had to remind ourselves that any team can show up with like bringing their game or not bringing their game. Every team can be different every time you play them, and to not expect things before you play, and just to play your hardest no matter what. So we quickly turned it around and worked hard.
starting was really all the girls needed to be like, excuse me, this is not right. I mean, it was a weird day in general, with it being the holiday, and I know the girls were probably a bit lazier than they normally are on a day like that. And then to come into our building and be the away team was really like, let's go, you know, that was not something that we were super excited about. But so then when Bedford gets on the board first, the switch flipped, and you could see it on the film, you could see it on the ice, you could see it on the bench, and the girls were like, all right, we're done being cute now, like, let's play, let's get this done.